Robert Gable became, again, a band assistant. He was from Bowling Green University. He was a bassoon major, a very, very fine musician, a very fine tenor and alto sax player. Played a lot of jazz musician jobs around Toledo and on boats and around the area. They always said, well, be careful about Bob Gable because he uses a lot of jive jargon in his speech, but developed a lot of good bassoon players for me at Central Catholic and a lot of good oboe players. And I remember the time we played Oliver. He played bassoon in the Oliver Orchestra. And as a student at Bowling Green University, before he became assistant band director at Central, he hitchhiked from Bowling Green every night to play the show Oliver at the State Theater. Very, very fine musician and a very nice person. Bob Gable was just awed at the fact that Louis Belson would come to the music building and play for the Central Catholic Band. My band never moved for 48 minutes. They just stayed there and watched and listened in awe.
Bob Gable, one of the band directors at Central.
Oh, okay.
Well, nice to see you, buddy.
Thank you.
Good to have you with me. Since, what year did you come to Central?
66.
He played bassoon. It was from Bowling Green. And he played in that first orchestra with me. Was kind of like we hired him the next year. But he came to play bassoon in Oliver.
Oliver, yeah.
Remember? And then he was a staff member for how many years, Bob? Four years.
We have here to introduce an amazing man who was assistant band director under my father. It all began, though, however, in 1953 when he walked in, or his father walked in and bought an alto saxophone at the Beach Briscoe Music Store downtown Toledo, 1953. He probably had to deal with my Uncle Victor, but that's okay. Bob was a member of the Devil's High School Marching Band and took bassoon lessons from Sam Zor. We all know Sam Zor. We all know what a great musician he was as well, and a well-known man around here. He also received his bassoon major at the Bowling Green State University, so he's still a local guy, was always a local guy. And, but all that changed a little bit in 1966 when he met Gerald D. Briscoe at Bowling Green State University. And Mr. D encouraged him to apply for the assistant band director job at Central. And he took him up on that. And while they were reviewing his application, and you could read this in his bio, he performed in Oliver 1966 in the pit band, and that's not the amazing thing. The amazing thing was he hitchhiked from Bowling Green every day to State Theater. Can you imagine doing that today? Truly amazing. As he became dad's assistant director, the rest is history. These two did amazing things, as you all know, and his duties included teaching freshman instrumental classes, flute, trumpet, percussion, and also helping with the marching band shows. I've heard stories of these two sitting around my father's kitchen table, which I was probably, 66, I was born. And they sat for hours and hours drawing up formations for the marching band. Now, can you imagine doing that today with the technology, the cell phones, the iPads, desktops, laptops? These guys did it at a kitchen table with a pencil and paper. Unbelievable. One of my dad's favorites to quote was, "Watch out for Bob. He uses a lot of jive jargon in his speech," which, if we all know Mr. Gable, he definitely has that for sure. And then things even became bigger after Central years. He joined the Wayne Cochran and the C.C. Riders band, amazing place, and also toured around the country with them, including Chicago and Miami Beach, and also appeared in albums such as Cochran and High and Riding. But more amazingly is that he was in C.C. and Company, which was a movie that starred Anne Margaret and Joe Namath. So we have a movie star amongst us tonight as well. Not only that, he also appeared on television. He appeared in Midnight Special, in Concert, The Merv Griffin Show, and the Dinah Shore Show. So once again, we have an amazing man amongst us. But then he took to the sea. He played on a cruise ship called the SS Emerald Seas. And then from there, from the sea, he went to New Orleans to play a lot of jazz. An amazing band called the Luther Kenton Trick Bag. Was one of the most popular bands in New Orleans at that time. Then he went back to the sea again and played in the Song of America. And his last few years in that era, he was also leader of the Dixie Band and Storyville Jazz Hall. If you've ever been to New Orleans, you've heard the jazz there, you know it's amazing. So he was amongst some of the heavy hitters when it comes to jazz. And then it all came to an end in 1991 when he came back to Toledo to be with his family. He worked at Penguin Music Store as a representative to the schools, helping children and helping students further their careers in music. He also participated in the Toledo Jazz Orchestra and the Murphy's Place Jazz and Orchestra, and my favorite, the Home Wreckers. Now, any of you from Toledo know the Home Wreckers. They had the swingin'est band, rhythm, and horn section in the city. I remember coming to Toledo to see my family and see Dad, and I said, okay, where are the Home Wreckers playing tonight? I got to go see these guys. They were amazing, and he was amazing. He retired from music in 2002, and on a personal note, he spent many holidays at our house, and they would break out all the instruments. My father played piano, Danny Walsh would sing, and Bob would play saxophone, and they would jam, and it was amazing. You had to be there. It was truly a sight to see. He is truly an amazing man. So it's my pleasure to introduce to you the next inductee, the Central Catholic Music Hall of Fame, Mr. Robert A. Gable.
Robert Gable became, again, a band assistant. He was from Bowling Green University. He was a bassoon major, very, very fine musician, very fine tenor and alto sax player. Played a lot of jazz musician jobs around Toledo and on boats and around the area. They always said, well, be careful about Bob Gable because he uses a lot of jive jargon in his speech. But developed a lot of good bassoon players for me at Central Catholic and a lot of good oboe players. And I remember the time we played Oliver, he played bassoon in the Oliver Orchestra. And as a student at Bowling Green University, before he became assistant band director at Central, he hitchhiked from Bowling Green every night to play the show Oliver at the State Theater. Very, very fine musician and a very nice person. Bob Gable was just awed at the fact that Louis Belson would come to the music building and play for the Central Catholic Band. My band never moved for 48 minutes. They just stayed there and watched and listened in awe.
Well, I'd like to say thank you, Jerry. I'd like to say thank you to everybody here. I feel very humbled by this. To be a teacher just out of college and walk into that music department, it was a well-oiled machine. I mean, it worked just like a Swiss watch. The first thing I saw when I walked into Jerry's office in the music building was the calendar. And the calendar was just jammed with parades and concerts and everything you could imagine. It was always something. I mean, we worked personally from before first hour until many times 6 o'clock at night. Just because no matter what we asked the students at Central to do, they would do it and more. I was very privileged to teach students with that much diligence and that much ambition. I have never seen anything like it. And when I left, I never taught at a school again because I knew I would never see anything like that again. Where would you have your own music building? Where would you have 4 or 5 people in the faculty and part-time people too. It was amazing. And when I left, I tried to make sure my position was filled and then some by a very fine musician and a good friend and a central guy in Danny Welch. And I'd like to have a hand for Danny Welch right now just because he was so good. Thank you for Danny because he's one of the great guys. And he devoted himself to that program as hard as anybody. And maybe that, and then some. I'd like to thank all the people that came here from out of town for this tonight. From far away and near and far away. I'd like to thank my last Central student who came here from quite a ways away, and Brian Tobianski. He was my last student, even though I wasn't at Central when I taught him. I was at a music store, and I started on bassoon. By the time I taught him for 2 years, he was first bassoon in the Toledo Youth Orchestra. A guy that just worked and worked and worked and worked, just like I remembered when I was there before. And like I say, I'm deeply humbled by this. I don't think I deserve any kind of award. But in keeping with Jerry's request, I've got a handwritten note that Diane gave me that he wanted to make sure that was in the Hall of Fame. And I love Jerry, and I can thank him for that, but I can thank God that I got to work with such a man. I'll tell you what it was like just for a second here before I leave. I was just out of college, okay? Between 22 and 23 years old. And I came in there to follow Jerry around, and he was somewhere near 40. I could barely keep up with him. I mean, I was exhausted keeping up with Jerry. The only time I ever saw him sit down was at lunch. This guy was a ball of fire. And when he wasn't out in the field with the band, he was over with the football team teaching guys how to punt. Because he couldn't punt the ball 50 yards at his age. And I don't know, I'll never forget Central. And all the people I saw tonight that were there, and I thought, I thank you very much, all you guys. And thank you for remembering. And thank you, David, for that kind introduction. And I'm truly humbled by all of this, and I don't know what else to say, except I miss Jerry. He's one of those guys I thought would always be here. And I miss him so much, I can't even explain it to you. Excuse me. But anyway, God bless Jerry Frisco and his biggest champion, Diane, and his two sons, David and Danny. God bless you all. And God bless everybody here for Central Catholic's Music Department and their Hall of Fame. I don't know if I deserve it, but I'll accept it because Jerry said so. Thank you.
Congratulations on your induction.
I was asked to have Mr. Nowak come up, please, to make another presentation to Bob here. Mr. Nowak.
Thank you. You've heard mention about the music building and Amy's comment about there being magic there. I played in the band in my junior and senior year, which would have been 67, 68, 69. I didn't know that there was something different than Bob Gable and Jerry Briscoe. They were kind of like a set of bookends. So, and there was a magic there. A lot of us would go over and hang around the music building before school, go over during lunch, being irreverent then as I am now. I would be sitting in Jerry's office, and he'd come in and go, "Noah, get out of my chair." And I go, "Okay, Uncle Jerry." And don't call me Uncle Jerry. And while you're at it, get those sideburns trimmed. Okay, Uncle Jerry. And you know, there was that spirit. And then there was Bob, who taught me bassoon, sax, and he also awakened in me a confidence and an appreciation for music, which led to an appreciation of the other arts. And I decided that the best way to express it was through one of the arts. And there's a gentleman by the name of Tom Baddock. You may read his comic strip, Funky Wingerbean or Crankshaft. And when I explained to him he was a teacher in Cleveland, I think Euclid actually. But when I explained to him the spirit and such of the music department and the Hall of Fame, and I said, "Could you do something for me?" He said, "When do you need it?" And when I told him there was plenty of time, what was going on, and a little background, he said back, "I'm on it." So nobody could probably express it better than Harry Dingle, the world's most famous band director. And he did this drawing just for this event, and it just says, "For the world's greatest band director, my friends, Jerry Crisco and Bob Gable." And I think that says it better than I ever could.